welcome back to my channel, and thanks so much for watching. In today's episode, I'm going to tell you about my favorite Landy. The short wheelbase Land Rover really just is such a cool vehicle, and now, you know, after a while now, I just thought to myself, you know, maybe I want to get a short wheelbase again. And so, you know, when I saw this vehicle, I was just so excited because it's a Series 2A. And so it's got the, you know, the front look of a Series 3, but it's still got the metal dash. And so when I saw this vehicle come up, I was pretty excited. The absolute best features I'll tell you about at the end that I think are just make this vehicle an absolute winner. And anyway, I contacted the guy. Long story short, lots of discussions. Did a deal, and I just received it this week, and this is actually the first time that I'm checking it out, so I'm really excited with this vehicle. I think it's such a special vehicle. It's got a whole lot of really unique features, and you know, the main features that are unique, just to start with, is it's got this cool worn winch, you know, one of the first worn winches on the front, and it's actually original and was fitted pretty much from the start of when the vehicle was bought by its first owner. And then the second part, you know, that's really nice about this vehicle, it's not, you know, one of the normal military vehicles that you get. It was a proper original civilian vehicle. It's actually a 1971 model, which is really nice. And then the other cool thing about it is it's got 8-to-1 compression 2.25 engine in, so that is its original engine. So everything on it is still original, nothing modified. It's completely standard. Obviously it's a little bit worn and tired and needs some work, but it is really as standard as it comes. But let me show you around and have a look, and stick around till the end, because I'll tell you some real other secrets that I found in this vehicle that it's just too good to be true. So stick around for that. I'll show you. So this is what more than 50 years of use looks like, as this Landy started its life in the then Transvaal or Gauteng area and spent most of its life in the Mpumalanga area, and then for the last 6 or 7 years was down at the coast between Knysna and Plettenberg Bay. And unfortunately that's what's caused most of the rust on the vehicle, but I think it's just been saved just in time, because there's just a few spots that are really bad, and the rest is just surface rust that should be able to be cleaned up once we redo it. Once I'd taken out all the carpeting and cleaned it out, I could start to assess the rust properly. And if the door tops were looking really bad, and that's where most of the rust was, around the firewall and then in the footwells. And so that's where most of the areas were, mostly on the right hand side, like on this footwell. It's basically completely rotten. And then also the left hand side spring hanger is the one that's taken the brunt of it. But then when I started to poke at those holes with the rust, or those rust areas, you could really start to see what was going on. So this is what you see when you take a screwdriver and you start scratching away those little bubbles of rust, and you keep digging and digging and sticking. Then you find where all the holes are. It's always covered up behind the paint. And you see what was happening here is that the dirt gets stuck behind this this sort of guard here and the actual firewall, and then it just stays wet and then corrodes there, and that's why you get that. So if you kept this clean, you probably wouldn't have that problem. But because it's never cleaned and just left, it just starts corroding. This side, similar story, but just not so bad. It's just got one or two little holes there. It's got a nice hole over here. These firewall rust spots I'd already dug out and just put some anti-rust converter on, just for the time being. But it's interesting that the owner, you know, when he sold this vehicle, didn't think there was a lot of rust on it, but there actually is quite a bit. Under the bonnet, everything looked great, and it still has the original engine in, which looks a little bit dirty and worn, but seems to actually go quite well. After checking everything out, it was finally time to take this Landy for the very first drive. and then I'll take the diff out and take out the piece of half shaft that's there, and then put some new half shafts in, and then yeah, then we can then it should be running normally. So, but yeah, really excited to drive this again. It feels really nice, eh? The steerings are quite loose as well, so I think there's quite a bit of play there. It needs to be sorted out as well. But otherwise, it's quite nice, going nicely. Brakes work alright, so looking good. Here's the piece of half shaft that's stuck in here. At least it's moving, so I just got to knock it out. I'll try and knock it out from this other side. Try and knock it out from this side. So I'm going to put a screwdriver in there and see what happens. Okay, so now finally onto those very best things about this Landy that I think makes it an absolute winner. And the first one is that, guess what we found in this vehicle? Under the seat, under the front seat, is the original jack that these vehicles came with. It's called a Shelly jack, and it's complete. It's got the handle. Looks a bit tired and used, so I'll be able to fix that up, but that's just a real bonus. Then the second thing that just makes this vehicle so cool is this. So these are the original papers that came with the vehicle, or the original book. So it's in this little AA book, and then it's got these original manuals with it. So the original owner's manual, which has got obviously all the details of ownership. There's this Lakor guide to motoring, and that's got a whole lot of old adverts and stuff in it, just all about Lakor and Lucas, and you know, all the stuff that was popular at that time. So that's a nice little book. And then there's the optional equipment manual for Land Rover, and that's, you know, got all of these are all the options that were listed at the time that you could get when you bought one of these vehicles. So that's really nice. And then of course the all-important dealership index or guide. So it tells you where all the dealers are all over the world. So there's South Africa, Lakor distributors, and then there's in every country all of the dealers. So when you go on that overland trip, you just take this with you and you know exactly where to go. Malawi, Madagascar, everything. So all the original dealers. So that's really nice. And then the absolute best is this, is the owner's maintenance manual. And this has got, you know, this is like the book where you keep your record of your services and that in. And it's got all that information, and it's actually got, unfortunately it doesn't have any writing in it, but let me show you at the back here. It's got these are the actual service information. So this is the pre-service and maintenance schedules, and then it's got the, you know, when you need to do all the services. And here are the tabs. So new vehicle pre-delivery inspection. Unfortunately it hasn't got the original owner's name in here, but anyway, but you can see these ones were tabbed off. So so it was basically serviced on here until 18,000 kilometers. So that was the last one that was taken out. So that's really nice. And then, I mean, this vehicle did come with a it still has the original registration paper. So it was registered in 1971 by the owner. So the papers are completely clean. It's not, you know, it's not like a rebuilt vehicle or something like that. So that's really nice. So that was the number 2. Finally, the very best part about this vehicle, which you would never have known and you could never guess, is this. These two are a matching pair. So this one on the left hand side is the very first Land Rover that I ever drove in as a kid, and that my dad had and now we still have. It's a 1973 Series 2A long wheelbase 6-cylinder. And now this new one that I just got is a 1971 also Series 2A, but obviously a 2 1/4 because it's a short wheelbase. So this is Big Me and Mini Me. So these two are like a matching pair. And that is the best thing about this Landy that I got. These two from the same era, really great vehicles, and really nice to have these two matching pair. It's really just lucky actually. I never planned it that way, but that in the end is the best thing about this new little shorty that I got. Okay, so that was my Series 2 2A short wheelbase that I just got. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly enjoyed making it, and I'm really looking forward to owning this vehicle and then at some point redoing it. But for now, we're just going to drive it around a little bit. So thank you so much for watching again, and I'll see you next time.